In the time of darkness, the pathway to Armageddon opens. Hi, everybody. This is Double RPG here from the GameRiffers, and the game we're going to be taking a look at today that was played and recorded by me is Hagane, the Final Conflict for the Super Nintendo. This game was published by Hudson Soft and is one of the very obscure but very good SNES titles that released in 1994. Basically, this game suffered the same fate as Final Fight Guy, where it was only available through Blockbuster Video for rental. And it's a side-scrolling action game that kind of takes a page from both the past Ninja Gaiden games and the past Shinobi games, where the side-scrolling is from both games, while the power-ups are more inclined with the Shinobi series. It's a really fun side-scrolling action hack-and-slash game, I guess you could say, or cybernetic ninja game. And obscure gem that you should not look away from. So, yeah, it's definitely a really great one. And since this is a GameRiffers episode, I'm joined by two other fine young gentlemen, and they are Fighter Kaus.
Hi.
And 16-Bit Jeff.
What's up?
And we are getting started with Stage 1. And there are like 4 or 5 parts to every stage. So after this stage, it would be like Stage 1-2, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, Hagane, like I said, suffered the same fate as Final Fight Guy, where it was only available for rent in Blockbuster Video. And that's a name you probably haven't even heard of for a long time, since they went bankrupt not too long ago.
And for a lot of kids who probably never even grew up with this system, probably never even heard of Blockbuster.
Oh yeah,
it's a sentence you don't hear very much. Mm-hmm. I rented it at Blockbuster.
Yeah. Hagane. The story for Hagane is that you play this robot or mecha ninja from the Fuma clan, which is apparently one of the famous ninja clans within the Sengoku period, or the Warring States period in Japan. You know, basically they had the civil wars between like the kingdoms, kind of like what Samurai Warriors did, but this is completely fictional. And the Fuma clan and the Koma clan, who are the main antagonists, they have been they've been like the predominant ninja clans within Japan's history, but then a nuclear catastrophe eradicated the Fuma clan by the Koma clan, and the only survivor is the one you're playing as right now, and you're out to destroy the Koma clan in order to get the Fuma clan's revenge. So it's another one of those revenge stories, obviously.
Of course.
Wow, you're kicking butt. This
of course.
Very much you mentioned how it's inspired by Shinobi. The power-up drops and the menu at the top are very much like Shinobi. Like, matter of fact, I was expecting it while you were playing. I was expecting to hear the music.
Here's another piece of interesting trivia about this game too is that the character designer for this game is actually the same guy who designed the characters for Onimusha 2 Samurai Destiny on the PlayStation 2.
Wow,
really?
Did not know that. Wow.
And who created the Genji series at Sony Computer Entertainment International or Japan or whatever. You know,
Enemy Crab.
Enemy Crab.
Yes. Genji was basically in the same vein as Onimusha, but a bit more, I guess you could say, subtle with its demographic.
Yeah.
But yeah, this game is by no means a cakewalk. It's hard as balls. I would even go as far to say that this game is probably the equivalent of Battletoads on the NES for the Super Nintendo.
Wow.
Yeah, because if you get killed by the enemy, you start back at the beginning of that part of the stage you're in.
Speaking of, I like the graphics here. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, if you died like right here, it would start you back at the beginning of Stage 1-2, essentially. So there's a bit of leniency. But if you get a game over, at least there's unlimited continues, but you have to do it from the start screen, but it'll just bring you back at the beginning of that stage.
You know, it's kind of funny you brought up the graphics, how they look very well, especially for a Super NES game, Jerry, because I'm actually reading the reception that got through the Wikipedia page.
They said it looked
power? They're saying it looks like a good NES game? Really?
Yeah, they said it looked terrible.
Oh.
And I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the scrolling effect, I'm like, that's pretty good. What do you mean?
That's better than NES. What the hell are they talking about?
NES couldn't do scrolling.
Yeah. And for this time around with GameRiffers, I figured we could probably use a little mecha action. We haven't had that many mecha-type games in...
Not at all, which is kind of funny, because people know me as, you know, the mecha guy, and most people, the circles I'm most known in are like, you know, all these Gundam places.
Uh-huh.
I gotta say, if there's one thing I'm really digging, it's the soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely having a lot of, like, an Iga Castlevania-centric theme to it.
Oh, yeah.
Who did the soundtrack, if you know? Or does it say?
I think it says who did it on the wiki.
Takahiro Abe.
And could you give us a refresher of what famous soundtracks that person did? Or, like, for video games or anime?
Yes, let me check actually in a second, because there's no link towards him. Let me check 1 second.
Yeah, the first 3 stages is where, or the first 3 parts of stage 1 is where I get good, but then, or where I'm actually really good, but by the next part of stage 1, which is dash 4, that's where I start to get a bit rusty. Because that's where the trial and error starts to take really big effect, and you shall see why right here.
I'm looking. Hey, running for stuff.
But look what's blowing up from underneath the platforms.
Well, okay, so that'll catch you by surprise.
Yes.
If you weren't looking.
But at least you can kill your enemies with 1 hit, so it's not like, you know.
And again, looking at the scrolling here, I'm like, again, better. Slightly, it looks only like a good NES game. Like, what?
I messed up there. Another thing is, too, is that you can get extensions to your health and whatever, so I don't know what happened there. But, yeah, you get extensions to your health, but if you lose a life, then you will lose that health extension and start back with 3 units of health.
Matter of fact, looking at this, I'm reminded of classic arcade-style TurboGrafx games.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think this game was developed by Red Company. You might actually remember them for developing Thousand Arms for the PlayStation.
Oh, wow. Now that's a game I haven't heard in years.
Yes, very obscure Atlas game. A really good one at that, too. I'm surprised that game has not made it onto the PlayStation Network.
Oh, by the way, I found out Takahito Abe.
Yeah.
He's done... Really?
Not that much work, to be honest.
Anything...
One name that stands out to me is Kunio-kun.
Yeah, exactly. Well, besides that, of course, but, like... It's like
basically,
he's done 4 games.
Oh, yeah. He is a Hudson guy.
I mean, what I mean is, like,
he did 3 games for Falcom.
He did 3 games for Falcom. Any of them based on Yeast?
No.
No?
No.
Yeah, and some of these things, too, you have to use your head with how to time your dash jumps, you know, kind of like that. Because you're not sure if you're going to land or if you're going to fall down. So you have to... Like I said, trial and error takes really big effect in this game. And of course, there are bosses to be had.
Yes!
Yeah. You got a monk with some robo-samurais. Big one.
Oh, he's fighting a Bankai.
I gotta say this.
Bleach.
I gotta say this. This is a really underrated soundtrack.
It reminds me of like not a lot of people talk about it, but you know, like how Ninja Gaiden had actually a really good soundtrack, and like I don't see nobody talking about it.
Oh, are you talking about the original?
Yeah,
or...
the NES original.
Oh yeah. Oh god, yes, that had a good soundtrack.
Wow, this really does take me back to Onimusha.
Oh yes.
And again, like TurboGrafx games with the arcadiness.
You know, speaking of Onimusha for a little bit, why haven't we heard a revival of that franchise?
I don't know. I'm kind of surprised as to why we haven't even gotten a 5th game, and I know that Yoshinori Ono, has expressed interest in wanting to revive the series again.
Because anything that Ono and the fans want, Capcom doesn't want to do. Look at their bank!
Yep, 157 or 152 million left. Yeah, that's not sitting pretty, Capcom.
Like, since we're talking about Capcom, Jerry, you know that me and you actually liked Ninja Fairy's take on DMC, right?
Yeah. I actually thought that was pretty enjoyable, yeah.
You know, as much as I like it, I can see where people come from that they would have been a more proper choice for an Onimusha reboot, to be honest.
Yeah, I see that. Was that a mini boss or was that the same boss,
yeah,
just a different form?
That was a mini boss.
That was a mini boss.
Right? Yeah.
when they display bosses, their names will show up in the stage, kind of like what you saw for stage 1.
Ooh, look at this.
This
right here actually reminds me of Strider.
Yeah,
it does.
This part here is where I'm going to screw up a bunch. That's probably going to take me 10 whole minutes to try to progress forward.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You can see why the trial and error takes really big effect in this game.
Oh, yeah.
You got to get the controls right, you got to know the platforming, you got to know how the enemies are going to attack you, and you got to watch your health.
Oh, by the way, fans, listeners, readers, because you're not reading, because how, but viewers, that's what I mean. Since these aren't full Let's Plays, like the Ninja Turtles and NES, but they're playing, I didn't think of a name, I thought of a name today. They're going to be added to a playlist. Let me know what you think. I decided to call these videos Riffables.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is going to be a riffable because I think I'm going to continue to go through it until I beat it.
Oh, you're actually doing
Okay.
it? All right. Good thing you mentioned. Okay, so now I know. So I should just call this the Hagane Let's Play.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right then.
Ooh,
But
yeah.
those two, the ones Video Dragon did, are going to be called Riffables. What do you think?
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
But
Cool.
didn't say that he was doing more with G.I. Joe, or is he done with it?
He said he might do more of G.I. Joe.
Oh, he might do more. Okay.
He's not. I don't think he's even going to do a full Let's Play.
Fair enough.
There's some other really cool moves you can do in this game. Like you can do backflips, ground backflips, where you do like handstands when flipping backwards.
This really, and this is on Super Nintendo because this really reminds me of TurboGrafx and Sega, like arcade gems.
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta love that Sony soundtrack that the Super NES had, huh, Jerry?
Yep. Looking at you,
And
Nintendo.
Look what Nintendo did.
Oh well.
Thank you very much, Yamauchi. Rest in peace.
At least they brought in a new competitor.
Oh, true.
You're crazy guy, but at the same time, respect.
You're crazy, but we love you.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh crap.
We love you. Ooh. Dang, he doesn't just die, he explodes.
Yeah, if there's one thing I have to complain about this game, it's the distance or the physics when you're jumping forward.
What is it, like slippery, or is it like he has too much momentum, you can't change direction?
Well, if he had more momentum, he would go faster. So I guess you could just say it's lack of momentum in the jumping forward.
I see those small, arable enemies that are going up and down. They're kind of comparable to the Medusa heads from Castlevania, huh?
Well, at least they don't have an arcing pattern.
True. But they're just as
And
annoying.
That's dope. I just noticed what you did. You did a dive kick with him.
Yeah, I was going to
He
say.
has dive kick.
Dive kick.
That's one of the things that you can do in the game is dive kicking.
Foot dive.
And don't mind about the video glitching up, guys. It's stuff like that happens. So.
And when I compress the Mario footage, it glitches.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at the platforming here.
I know. The platform looks really fun, to be honest.
You said it's like Battletoads. I'm guessing for some of this stuff you have to be pixel perfect like Battletoads.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And you have to get the controls down right as well.
Well, no fairness, it doesn't look like it's as annoyingly hard as Ninja Gaiden 1 was.
It doesn't look cheap, at least. Like, there's
That-
challenging
yeah.
and then there's cheap. It doesn't look cheap.
Like Ninja Gaiden 1 was, basically.
Yeah, Ninja
where
Gaiden
you're-
with the knockback. Yeah. The head.
Yeah.
Oh.
Enemies knock you back, you didn't see them. Like, that's cheap. Nah. That ain't
Well, no,
cheap.
that, but the final boss as a whole, I mean...
Never got to the final boss.
You're lucky.
I started playing it.
You'd actually be very surprised what the final boss is actually like.
I seen YouTube, which is why I like the soundtrack, because that's actually that theme is like hype.
Yeah.
But as for this game, I don't know.
Now, this soundtrack is really good, especially for Super NES.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one thing Super NES had. It, you cannot lie about its sound chip.
Yeah, and as I said, guys, this doesn't have a... Oh, that... Well, probably...
I was dark took it to the fire.
And you can't destroy those things that, with the laser barriers. I had to learn that the hard way. What I meant by learning the hard way is learning that you can actually attach yourself to the ceiling of wherever you're at. Like what I did back in stage 1-3. It's just when I was having a hard time trying to jump over those things, it's like, wait a minute. Now I remember what you could actually do.
Which just drives home the point of me saying Strider earlier. That reminds me of Strider doing, having to avoid things with by clinging.
I would say this is probably far more enjoyable than Strider. And I know, and Strider, and don't get me wrong, Strider is a really phenomenal game on the Sega Genesis or the arcade, whichever one you prefer. But I'm just saying, with the challenge of how this goes, it's that kind of challenge where it's rewarding in the end.
Oh, you figured it out? Oh boy! Again, it's not cheap. You just have to know what to do. Like, there you go.
Yep.
Oh shoot!
Well, when the protagonist dies, he really dies.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said earlier. He doesn't just die. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
You might actually be shocked with the ending of this game after you beat it.
Dive kick. Foot dive.
Yeah.
Okay, Doom, calm down.
I know.
Well, we haven't seen that much dive kicks for video games like that.
The only other game that, believe it or not, that particular dive kick looks like to me is the one from Outland.
I would probably say like any of the Kirby games when you're using the fire power up, where you can actually do that dive kick.
You ever played Outland, Kyle?
No, I haven't.
If you like Ikaruga, it's an action game.
Oh God, I want to try Ikaruga. That's one of those games that I'm still yearning to actually find a copy on the GameCube.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Kill it.
And I know it's on the Dreamcast, but you have to have a Japanese Dreamcast in order to. Yeah, see, I'm not using my head here.
You're just trying to walk through.
Clipping. This is why clipping's awesome.
It's like
what do I do?
But it's like you can see those gaps in the ceiling there, and you're like, what?
Yeah. Now you can see why I have infinite lives on right now.
Yep.
Because, like I said, this game is trial and error based to a good extent.
Oh yeah.
You remember
Everything's
when
based
game
on
designers knew how to, just teach you how to do things without having to have you go through tutorial modes?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, so what you're getting at, Kyle, is that it definitely does have a difficulty curve, but not one that's annoying.
Yes. It like I said, it's in the same boat as Battletoads, where it's as a difficulty curve, but it's not impossible.
That's a good question. Which game's worse, Battletoads or Ninja Gaiden in regards to difficulty?
Oh God!
Battletoads. There's no mistaking about that. Battletoads was far evil. I mean, for levels like Klinger Winger, oh God. And I bet you know what level I'm talking about. It's the one with the one-wheeled cycle.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, speaking of Pixel Perfect, that one you had to be.
See, you can actually do that flip technique to actually try to,
Oh, Captain America's flip wasn't enough?
Yeah.
Speaking of
Wait.
Marvel vs. Capcom.
I think by now is when I realized that I could actually cling on to the walls. Or remember that I could do that.
So you actually used to go to Blockbuster
And I
back
was
then?
doing it when I was riding on those platforms to go over.
Yeah, no, it's like you remembered it there, but not for the walls. Like,
Yes.
I know.
but you actually used to go to Blockbuster, eh? Actually, I did.
Yeah.
Too, but, I mean, like,
Dude, every one of us did back when we were kids.
I don't remember.
20 years ago. Now, just technically gave our age strange.
I know, right? You just like,
Not
oh
me.
no, yeah.
Yay, me! You know you can actually edit that out if you want to, Jerry.
Nah,
If you want to.
you know me.
Or just bleep it. Whichever way.
Nah, I'm giving the audio to. So.
See?
There you go.
Yeah! You're getting it out!
You can't touch me now. Strider
Can't
style.
touch this. Yeah,
crap.
and I'd have to go back.
Oh god. Right.
And it doesn't even hurt your feet either, so you're safe.
Hitboxes. So.
Yeah, the hit detection can be pretty unforgiving.
It's like I wonder what the enemy is thinking. Let's put a lightsaber and just move it forward. See, looks.
And here's the last part of this part of the stage. And we're going to have to hold the rest of what's coming up for Stage 2 in another time. So, anyway, I'm Double RPG.
I'm Chaos.
And I'm Jeff.
Laters. We'll see you next time in Part 2.